what's going to happen, again, you're going to have the blood vessels constrict back in the penis, so both the arteries and veins, so the blood will leave the corpus cavernosa, corpus spongiosum, and you should have that return to that flaccid experience. Now, this is followed by a refractory period. So in males, a refractory period is going to be a time at which he cannot sustain an erection long enough to penetrate and complete a female activity again. So this is one of those things where you're just going to have downtime. Now, depending on the male, his age, his physical stamina, that scenario, 10 minutes is pretty average for a refractory period. So I guess that's cuddle time or what have you. In older males or males who are not very healthy, this can be for hours. Okay, so it all depends on age and physical conditioning, how long a refractory period lasts for that male. Now, women lack a refractory period. We don't have to basically reset everybody because we don't have to deal with all the issues that the guys have to deal with the penis. So since women lack a refractory period, this is why women can have multiple orgasms. They don't have to go back and reset and, go completely relaxed back to completely stimulated again. They can just hit back to back to back. So this is why guys aren't able to have multiple orgasms and females are, because females don't have the refractory period. Now, there has been a case where there was one male recorded who has ever had multiple orgasms. So again, back in the day when Discovery Health had shows that were about health and not Oprah and crap, there was a show that came on late at night called Weird Sex. So it was all about weird things that happen in the ER and bodies and whatever. And there was a case where a guy's like, I'm multi-orgasmic. And the doctors are like, yeah, you wish, sir. And he's like, no, seriously, I can do this. So he went to prove the scientists wrong. So they gave him magazines and a cup, and they're like, all right, prove it. And he back to back about 10 times before they're like, okay, we believe you. So he's the only recorded male who has ever had multiple orgasms. I guess nature takes care of its own. He was a very ugly guy.
Oh,
so it's like, you may be able to, but you're probably not going to be able to. Nobody wants that. Okay. But again, only one time in the case of medical history has that ever happened for males. So it's not a thing that can happen because of refractory period. All right. Questions about sex? Got you, the me, all the fun things. All right. So what happens after sex? Huh?
Babies?
Babies. Look at that. Development and inheritance. I pick up where we left off.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the last chapter for A&P2. I know, try not to be too excited. All right, so fertilization. Fertilization is the joining of a sperm and an egg together. Now, when we compare the two side by side, the egg is one of the largest cells we have in the human body. Heck, the largest cell in the entire world is an unfertilized ostrich egg. So they can be obviously big. So big cell compared to the sperm, which is the smallest cell in the human body. So that ratio is 2,000 to 1. So I imagine it's pretty daunting if you had eyes to be able to look at that and go, wow, I've got to conquer that thing. So big size difference. Now, sperm can travel 5 inches per hour. And in case you wondered, yes, they did pay somebody to see how fast sperms swim. And you thought your job was crappy. At least you're not clocking sperm, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. If you don't work at a pig farm, they still have to harvest sperm from pigs by hand. Literally.